Hello all heroes and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe, and today we are going to be talking about the current restricted arena and the changes that they made to the schedule. If you remember, the last restricted arena was the GDA faction. And then almost immediately after that was going to be Guardians of the Globe, which is literally just the GDA faction minus Cecil. And I guess they might have heard that feedback, I don't know, because they actually changed up the calendar pretty aggressively to some new things. We've got currently Not of This Earth, then the next one is going to be Support, next one is going to be Last Line of Defense, and after that is Melee, then after that is Malefactors. So these are some faction restrictions that we haven't seen before. We were kind of getting into a weird doubling up situation where it was stuff we've seen before. Looks like they've decided to alter that and keep it a little more interesting, which I greatly appreciate. Now, the current one is Not of This Earth, aka the Universa Show. Let's be totally honest here. If you have Universa built up, you're gonna have a good time. If you don't have Universa built up, ouch. You're going to have perhaps pardon me, I've got hiccups. If you don't have Universa built up, you're gonna have a bad time. But let's at least give everybody their fair due of this faction. Now, the Not of This Earth faction is not massive. Because basically, if we're including the rare heroes, you've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if I'm not miscounting. But if we're not including the rare heroes, we've got 4. Which is not the most ideal thing in history. But when one of those 4 is Universa, then, well, does it really matter? Speaking of Universa, let's talk about Universa real quick. So Universa, we've talked about very often on this channel, and I'll give you a little refresher on her abilities. She is a ranged character who loves to focus on crits, and how useful she is very aggressively dependent on her tripping the Light Fantastic. Every time she performs a crit, her normal attack will basically become an AoE and bounce around to other characters. The more you have this leveled up, the more damage it will do, and the more enemies it will bounce to, effectively frying the entire team at level 10. Her main ability, Thunderstruck, is just a mass AoE that does good damage. This won't really apply because there's not any Last Line of Defense characters except for maybe Oliver. Is Oliver Last Line of Defense like his brother? Let's see. He is. Okay, so if you see an Oliver in the team, then that will trigger, but outside of that very specific case, you're not going to get a whole lot of action from energy transfer. But this one is pretty good too, because every 15 seconds or so, she basically just gets an obviously very helpful crank up with crit chance and life leech, keeping herself alive, doing more damage, and triggering her crits more often. The power difference between Universa and everybody else that can be used in this arena is noteworthy. I'm gonna be totally honest there. She is the best by a long shot. However, to give him his dues, Battle Beast puts up a fair fight. I won't deny this fact. Battle Beast is actually decent. I have not given him his dues, if I'm being totally honest. I only just recently got him up to Omnipotent Plus, and even then, I've barely even used him. But he actually does okay. With his main ability here, he kind of focuses on wounds, where he can heal himself if he absorbs a target's wounds, and it's a pretty quick ability, clocking in at 15 seconds. When fighting against Viltrumites, he gets life leech, so if he does happen to be fighting against an Oliver, he can heal himself a bit. His basic attacks pretty much always have the debuff for the wounding, which, I mean, can actually add up in a hurry, and if you do have this ability powered up, it can stack up to 7 times. That actually does add up. I'm gonna be totally honest, that is actually pretty dang good. And then with his Worthy Opponent ability, as long as his target is at 75% or higher, he gets higher base damage, but slightly less defense. But, like, it's a pretty fair trade-off. I mean, 15% defense is not even going to hurt him that bad if we're being totally honest, because he is an attacker, so he's not going to have a massive defense stat anyway. But increasing his raw damage by that percentage, yeah, that's tasty. And he's going to make sure to stay on the enemy with the highest attack and hopefully put them down. So, if you do have a Battle Beast built up, you might get away with this. Even if you don't have a Universa, you could get away with a good Battle Beast and still have a pretty decent time. You're going to struggle a little bit against the built Universas, but he's okay. Now, Alan is not going to make or break a team, but he does immensely help it. He is arguably one of the best defenders of the team. He's got a taunt, which is always very good, keep people off of his allies. He's got pretty much a savior ability here, where when he has 1 HP, he will heal himself and get healing over time, which is noteworthy, because it basically is a guaranteed heal, and he even gets better stats when he is below a certain HP threshold. Alan is just a good tank. I mean, yeah, that's just the gist of it. He is just a really, really good tank. Also, I mean, I hesitate to call this a buff, because, like, oh, he increases all allies' energy resistance and energy damage by 20% when fighting against heroes from not of this earth. But you're almost 100% of the time going to be fighting against other Allans who are giving the identical buff, so it's not... It more so just kind of washes, if we're being honest. It's still a cool ability, and hey, maybe if you have it powered up, if you've got level 10 mental workout and the opposing Allan has a level 1 mental workout, still a buff. A little bit mitigated, but a buff nonetheless. And then there's Shapesmith. Shapesmith is actually really good, and he is the only proper healer for the Not of This Earth sub-faction. The only kicker with that is he is still a brand new character, so not a lot of people are going to have him properly built up and invested, because let's be honest, we all were totally drained between the double whammy of Anissa and then Conquest 2 characters later. We just got drained by the man himself, Jeffrey Dean Conquest. We did not spend a lot of gems on Shapesmith. He was a pass. He was a pass character. Let's not deny this truth. So, probably not a lot of people have him built. But if you do, you might be having a pretty good time. And even if you don't, just his very presence can be helpful. Because with his combination of Brother in Arms and then Made You Look, he can at least get a nice little AoE confusion effect, which does count for something. So even if he's not doing damage, he might could toss around some debuffs, disrupt the enemy a little bit on a good day. So that's the 4 elite characters. Now, I am going to briefly touch on the rare characters. Here's the kicker with that. We have, of course, Flaxen Leader here, and the thing is with Flaxen Leader, he's not good. The only reason that he has any value is his GDA op buff, where he increases the rewards you get from GDA ops when he's fighting against humans. Now, it's a dang good buff, and it single-handedly makes him useful. So, take that how you will. A lot of people probably have at least one Flaxen Leader built up, maybe even more. You wouldn't catch me blaming you if you did. So, probably an embarrassing number of heroes or embarrassing number of people are going to be using Flaxen Leader just to fill in the slot. I know I am. So, yeah, I mean, sure. But, let's talk about the other two that are actually useful. That being Kid Omni-Man and Damien Darkblood. A fair number of people actually have Damien Darkblood built up, because his skills, while not amazing, actually are worth something. His main ability here has a pretty quick cooldown of 13 seconds, and can reduce the defense of his enemies. And if you do happen to get it leveled up, it reduces the defense by 25%. That can be pretty helpful. His ability here, when an enemy dies, he heals any member of Not of This Earth for 5% of his max HP. And then when an ally dies, he increases the crit chance of his allies from Not of This Earth. Normally, this is situational. for this particular arena, this is nuts. If you have a Damien Darkblood properly built, you're going to actually be having a pretty good time with this character in this particular arena, because literally his entire team is not of this earth. So whenever your characters get a kill, he will heal your team. And whenever one of your allies dies, he grants crit chance, which, need I remind you, Universa literally depends on crits to function. So that actually adds up in a hurry. And in the very surprising event that you actually have his skill invested, even better. So yeah, ironically, Damien Darkblood has quite a lot of market value in this particular event. And his abilities here are actually not half bad. He is a good character. He's one of the many rares in this game that are punished by being a rare. If you gave this guy a 4th skill, he could cook something. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I kind of would love to see a day where rare characters get a little bit of a rework / buff, where they get a proper 4th skill and maybe even some stat buffs if they're feeling really generous. But as he is, he will still serve you very well. Now, Oliver is one of the new rare characters, and he's an interesting one because he is okay. The problem is, as part of the group ability, only applies to last line of defense characters. So unless you're using a second kid Omni-Man, and you're probably not, this is not going to apply, which is a little tragic. His main claim to fame here is fight someone your own size, where he does specifically target the enemy with the least defense, does a pretty decent attack, but then gets a guaranteed crit. And then whenever he does get crits, he can get actually more crit damage. So it's like, again, an actually decent character held back by the curse of being a rare, which is not ideal. And unfortunately, that curse extends to as part of the group ability, where the faction he works with does not apply at all in this arena. So, if you are doing an optimal team, and I mean like not worrying about resources or anything, the team is going to be Universa, Alan, Battle Beast, Shapesmith, and Damien Darkblood. Damien Darkblood being a little bit of the dark horse on that one, but like I said, for this particular arena, he gets some massive market value. Realistically speaking, it's probably going to be Universa, Alan, Battle Beast, Flaxen Leader, and either a Shapesmith if you got a few copies from recent events, or just whatever character you can cough up. You're almost always going to have the core of Universa, Alan, Battle Beast, and then honestly after that, it's just kind of a matter of whatever you have. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because Universa is just the queen of this arena. Literally no dispute. So, yeah, I mean, this week, it's the Universa show. Good news is, a lot of people probably already have Universa, so that's not too big of a deal. But if you're a more recent player, you have my condolences. But hey, if you use my code, ShovedYT, SHVDYT, you do get at least one copy of Universa. So, hey, you gotta start somewhere. You have got to start somewhere. But I mean, like, you'll even see exactly what I'm talking about here. Battle Beast, Alan, Universa. Battle Beast, Alan, Universa. Battle Beast, Alan, Universa. This team over here on the left is an interesting one, though, because it's what I mentioned before, where if you don't have a really built Universa, you can actually get away with a really built Battle Beast. And Norgal over here is that in spades, because the man has got his Battle Beast leveled up to the 9s, and he is going to be having a very, very good time in the GDA case file for Battle Beast. I am not that privileged. I have got the Universa buffs, and alas, Universa has not received a GDA case file yet, but we are just going to wait patiently. But that is a-okay for now. We have got lots of fun stuff to do. I'm very pleased that they changed up the multiverse arena calendar, because it was starting to look a little repetitive there for a second. The next one is going to be supports. And that's going to be an interesting conversation, because by nature, supports are, well, supports. You don't really see them getting their hands dirty very often. But, I mean, we do have a couple halfway decent supports in the game, I won't deny. But we will talk about that when the time comes. So, yeah, we will leave it at that. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.